In the early hours of September 1st, 1939, a darkness fell upon Europe, one that would alter the course of history forever. As the rest of the world slumbered away, this darkness was beginning to cast its long, menacing shadow across the European continent, a brooding storm that carried with it an impending sense of dread and fear. This eerie quiet was pierced by the thunderous roars of aircraft engines, the chilling sound of heavy artillery, and the haunting echo of marching boots. This was not just any ordinary day, it was a day that had been carefully chosen, planned, and executed, with a cold, calculating precision that was as ruthless as it was merciless. The orchestrator of this nefarious plot was none other than Nazi Germany, a nation that had emerged from the ashes of the First World War, bent on revenge and fueled by a twisted ideology of racial superiority. Under the iron fist of its charismatic yet megalomaniac leader, Adolf Hitler, Germany had been transformed into a formidable war machine, capable of crushing any opposition that dared to stand in its way. This was not just a mere invasion, it was a carefully orchestrated campaign of terror, and it was a clear demonstration of Hitler's aggressive foreign policy and his unabashed ambition to create a new world order under his despotic rule. The target of this ruthless onslaught was the peaceful nation of Poland, a country that had dared to defy Hitler's imperialistic ambitions. Poland, with its rich history and proud people, was caught in the crossfire of this unrelenting aggression. Despite its valiant efforts to resist the invaders, the sheer might of the German forces proved to be insurmountable. Towns were razed to the ground, innocent lives were lost, and the world watched in horror as the atrocities of war unfolded before their very eyes. The invasion of Poland was more than just a military campaign, it was a symbolic act of defiance against the established world order. It was a direct challenge to the collective conscience of humanity, a stark reminder of the brutal consequences of unchecked aggression and power. As the dust settled on this tragic day, the world was left to ponder over the grim reality that had just unfolded. The echoes of the artillery fire were still ringing in their ears, the images of the destruction were still fresh in their minds, and the gravity of the situation was slowly beginning to sink in. This was not just a regional conflict, it was the beginning of a global catastrophe of unparalleled proportions. The invasion of Poland marked the start of the most devastating conflict the world has ever witnessed, the Second World War. It was a war that would change the face of the earth, redefine the concept of power, and leave an indelible mark on human history. And as the dawn of the war made its ominous presence felt, the world braced itself for the storm that was about to come. Just days before this fateful event, the world was astounded by the unexpected signing of a seemingly improbable pact. The political landscape was sent into a dizzying frenzy as the news of the said pact began to circulate. History henceforth was about to witness one of the most bewildering yet crucial activities, the ratifying of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. This pact, so named for Joachim von Ribbentrop, the then foreign minister of Germany, and his Soviet counterpart, Vyacheslav Molotov, was a pact that stood for non-aggression and promised to maintain peace. The signing of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact was an event that shifted paradigms and redefined relationships between two strong nations. The world was taken aback by this sudden turn of events. Many were left wondering about the implications of this pact. Ribbentrop, famed for his diplomatic prowess, and Molotov, known for his steely resolve, were the key players in this strategic game of chess. At first glance, this pact seemed like a beacon of hope. It promised an era of tranquility, a time of peace amidst the growing hostilities. The world watched and waited, hopeful that this strategic move would put an end to the escalating tensions. A sigh of relief was collectively held, as peace at last seemed achievable and within grasp. However, on closer inspection, the facades began to crumble. What appeared as a beacon of hope was nothing more than a calculated strategic move. It was a grand scheme, masterminded with the sole motive of furthering Hitler's expansionary objectives. This pact was not just a mere promise of non-aggression. It was a cleverly disguised plan with a hidden agenda. It was not about peace, but about power. The pact, while outwardly promising peace, was a tactical maneuver to subvert and dominate. It secretly included a protocol that divided Eastern Europe into the German and Soviet spheres of influence. Poland, an innocent bystander in this political game, found itself awkwardly straddling the divide. The nation was involuntarily caught in the crossfire, its destiny now inexplicably intertwined with that of the two superpowers. The fate of Poland hung precariously in the balance, swinging like a pendulum between Germany and the Soviet Union. Unbeknownst to Poland and the rest of the world, the pact was nothing more than a prelude to the impending cataclysm. It was a harbinger of the tempest that was poised to engulf the world. The Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact was not the beacon of hope it pretended to be. It was the calm before the storm, the deceptive lull before the onslaught. In essence, the pact served as a stepping stone for Hitler's ambitions of territorial expansion. It was a strategic tool, masterfully crafted, and executed to perfection. The pact allowed Hitler to forge ahead with his plans with newfound vigor, setting the stage for a conflict that would forever alter the course of history. The pact secretly included a protocol that divided Eastern Europe into German and Soviet spheres of influence, with Poland finding itself awkwardly straddling the divide. This pact, signed in the shadows, set the stage for the invasion. A sense of palpable tension was thick in the air, a testament to the gravity of what was being agreed upon. Two powerful nations, each a titan in their own right, came together in a darkened room, their leaders' faces barely visible in the dim light. The agreement they were about to sign would change the course of history, shaping the fate of millions. Germany, a nation with a burgeoning military might and a hunger for power, was at the heart of this agreement. They were now emboldened, their confidence growing with the knowledge that the Soviet Union, a formidable force in Europe, wouldn't interfere in their impending plans. Their assurance was further bolstered by the Soviet Union's acquiescence, its silent nod of approval echoing in the cavernous room where the pact was signed. With this secret pact securely in place, Germany set their sights on their next target: Poland. In order to provide a justification, a fig leaf for the onslaught they were about to unleash, Germany staged a false flag operation in a small but strategically important town. The operation, meticulously planned and executed under the cover of darkness, was designed to give Germany a pretext to invade Poland, to unleash the beast of war on a neighboring nation. And it worked. The world watched in shock and horror as Germany, under the guise of retaliation, declared war on Poland. The international community was taken aback, their protests and condemnations falling on deaf ears as Germany marched forward with its plans, fueled by ambition and a cold, calculating strategy. The German forces, equipped with the most advanced weaponry of the time, rolled into Poland. Using the innovative and brutal blitzkrieg tactics, Germany was able to conquer Poland swiftly. The blitzkrieg, or the lightning war, was a strategy centered around speed and surprise. It was a novel approach to warfare, a shocking departure from the traditional, more measured pace of conflict. It was a war of shock and awe, a horrific spectacle that unfolded in a matter of days. The Polish, caught off guard by the sudden and ferocious onslaught, crumbled quickly under the German assault. The country's military infrastructure, unprepared for such a swift and brutal attack, was left helpless, unable to stem the tide of the invading force. The people of Poland, their lives disrupted by the war, could only watch in horror as their homeland was ripped apart, their futures uncertain. The fall of Poland marked the beginning of a horrifying era for the country and its people. Their world was turned upside down, their sense of safety and security shattered by the raging war. Death and destruction became a part of their everyday lives, a grim reminder of the atrocities of war. But amidst the rubble and the chaos, the spirit of resistance was born, a spark of hope in the darkest of times. This lightning war strategy, centered around speed and surprise, left the Polish defenses helpless and marked the beginning of a horrifying era for Poland and its people. The invasion of Poland was a shock to the global community. It was not just an act of aggression, but a flagrant and audacious violation of international law and human rights. This event, occurring on the first day of September in 1939, was a profound moment in history that drastically changed the world's political landscape. The Polish skies filled with menacing German aircraft, their distinctive buzz heralding the arrival of an unparalleled terror. The initial onslaught was swift and brutal, with the German forces employing their infamous blitzkrieg tactics. Poland's military, despite their valiant efforts and unwavering courage, found themselves overwhelmed by the sheer might of the invading force. In mere weeks, the once vibrant cities of Warsaw, Krakow, and Lodz had been reduced to rubble, populations terrified and disoriented. The invasion prompted an immediate and resolute response from the international community. France and the United Kingdom, unable to stand idly by as their Polish allies were trampled under the iron boot of German militarism, declared war on Germany. This titanic decision marked the official start of the Second World War, a conflict that would rage across the globe for 6 arduous years and claim the lives of millions. Not long after, other nations, including Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, entered the fray. These countries, aligned by shared values and democratic principles, stood together in solidarity against the looming threat of Nazi Germany. They formed a global coalition in a bid to curb the uncontrollable expansion of Hitler's Third Reich. Their contributions to the war effort were immense, with many making sacrifices that would forever echo in the halls of history. The invasion had a profound and devastating impact on Poland. The Polish people and their nation were subjected to unimaginable horrors and atrocities committed by the German forces. It marked the beginning of a humanitarian crisis on a scale that remains unparalleled to this day. Thousands of Polish Jews were rounded up, persecuted, and exterminated, a grim chapter that still sends shivers down the spine of humanity. The invasion of Poland was not just a military campaign, it was the manifestation of a pernicious ideology that sought to dominate the world. It was the first major step in Hitler's grand plan for a 1,000-year Reich. This marked the dawn of a global conflict that would shape the entire 20th century. The impact of this war, the immense loss of life, and the seismic shifts in political power structures continue to resonate with us even today. The invasion heralded the start of the Holocaust, the systematic state-sponsored genocide of 6 million Jews. The persecution of Polish Jews during this time marked one of the darkest chapters in human history. This was the beginning of a global conflict that would shape the 20th century, and its effects are still felt today. Throughout the annals of history, the invasion of Poland stands as a stark reminder of the horrors of war and the destructive power of unchecked ambition. It is a moment etched in the global consciousness, a chapter of global history that is both dark and profound, a time that is looked upon with a mix of dread and reverence for the strength and resilience it showcased. Often we discuss wars and battles in numbers and strategies, but the invasion of Poland was more than that. It was a clash of philosophies, ideologies, and national pride. It was a time of heroes and villains, of despair and hope, of destruction and resilience. It was a time that changed the face of the world as we knew it, and set the stage for the world we live in today. We must explore this chapter in depth, delve into its heart, and uncover its soul. We must understand the intricacies, the political environment that led to the invasion. We must explore the alliances, the treaties, and the betrayals that set the stage for this devastating event. We must examine the causes that led to such an aggressive act, the conditions that allowed such a disaster to unfold. We must also study its effects, the repercussions that echoed through time and space. The invasion of Poland did not just end with the end of the war. Its echoes can still be heard today. It changed the landscape of Europe, it altered the dynamics of international relations, and it shaped the course of history. The invasion of Poland is not just a historical event, it is a lesson. It is a warning against the dangers of unchecked ambition and the destructive power of war. It is a testament to the courage and resilience of a nation and its people. It is a call for peace and understanding, a plea for unity and cooperation. By studying this chapter, we can gain a deeper understanding of our past and our present. We can see the patterns that have shaped our world, the forces that continue to influence it. We can learn from the mistakes of the past and strive to prevent them from repeating in the future. We can honor the memory of those who suffered, those who fought, those who survived, and those who perished. We can remember their bravery, their sacrifice, and their resilience. We can ensure that their experiences, their pain, and their strength are not forgotten. We can also ensure that such a tragedy is never repeated. By understanding our past, by learning from our mistakes, we can work towards a future where war is not the answer, where peace prevails, and where the spirit of unity and triumphs over the forces of division and destruction. This journey into the annals of history is not just an exploration, it is a responsibility, a duty we owe to ourselves and to future generations. This is the Annals of History, signing off.